The Crafter. The Crafter is one of the best additions in Minecraft 1.21, and in this episode 15 of the series, I'm going to be upgrading a bunch of my farms to use the Crafter. The Crafter can automatically craft items, and we're going to do this to save some storage space and just make life easier by not having to craft everything. The first task at hand is that I always wanted my villager breeder to also be a wheat farm. Since I'm using mud brick, I really need wheat. To do this, I'm going to need a lot of hoppers and specifically iron. This iron farm that I have is producing a lot of iron, which makes this incredibly useful for this. I should also explain that with the hoppers, they can pick up items on top of a block if that block isn't a full block. For example, in this case, farmland isn't a full block. That's why I can use hoppers instead of hopper minecarts to pick up the wheat. Here is the end result. Basically, I just wanted to cover as much area with farmland and wheat as possible. I changed the paths to mud brick and put in a cherry tree because, well, I like cherry trees. So too bad if you don't like it. Also, I made it so villagers can't jump on and off the composters to trample the wheat. Another part of this is that the villagers weren't breeding. Now you can see I have a ton of villagers. So the reason they weren't any villagers breeding is that there was too many villagers in the breeder and not enough beds for them to breed. The farm is more about looking cool than actually being functioning, so this is going to happen occasionally. Here is the chest with all of the wheat, and you can see right now there isn't really much. So it's just going to keep running since it's in the middle of my base, so I should end up with a lot of wheat, and I can compost the seeds to get even more bone meal. On to the next task, and one of the things I've been working on off screen is the bridges for my base. So I need a lot of bridges as I put in these canals, and obviously I can't swim across each time. Anyways, I want something that goes with the red sandstone walls, and I came up with this. This is a mix of stripped acacia. A lot of it is different acacias. Besides that, there is red sandstone and orange terracotta. I think this works with my base, and it is easy to repeat a bunch of times. So that is what I'm going to be building. Another one. Now. No, wait, now. How about now? Here is the finished bridge result. No. I like it, and I'm going to be using bridges to divide up the pathways around the different farms and buildings. I'm guessing everyone does this at some point, but I started to work on something and changed my mind halfway through. I was going to build a bulk storage system for my farms on the side of my base. I even built the tunnels that I will never use, but they were there for transporting the items, but I went in another direction. Now, on to the crafter part of this video. Here is the sugarcane, pumpkin, and melon farm. Originally, what I was thinking was that I would do this style of building and keep it going with each farm. However, I kind of want to change it up. I want to have different buildings for each farm to make them more unique. That's what I'm going to be doing. So part of what I want to change is that these farms aren't the most efficient use of space. So here in my pumpkin and melon farm, you can see that I have a giant space underneath that isn't being used for anything at all. So what I want to do is make things a lot more compact and efficient and basically use the space appropriately. So the first part of this was to remove the right part of the building that I used for the storage to rework this. Here is the result. I rebuilt the sugarcane farm. This is the same farm as I usually do, tutorial in description. I just made it so that it is more narrow and more compact use of space. It is very easy farm to build on top of each other. You can see into the farm also. For the side, I have this wall that will be facing the pathway. I decided to go with stripped dark oak and try to gradient using different dirt blocks, granite, and dripstone. As you can tell, the last few episodes, I've been really trying to not just use one block for buildings. I broke up the different levels with signs and to not make it as flat. Sorry this episode kind of jumps around a lot, but I really wanted to work on my building, and it's hard to do that on screen sometimes. So this is the first redstone circuit that I built that is going to use the crafter. So the sugarcane is going to feed into this on the right side. The left side has a shulker box unloader that I can place shulker boxes of gunpowder into. So the spots with the stripped logs are for the crafters. One is going to turn sugarcane into paper, and the other is going to turn gunpowder and paper into firework rockets. So when I built this, the crafters weren't out yet, so at the end of the episode I'll have to put the crafters in and see if this works. I'm also trying something a bit different for myself, which is trying to build the interiors of the buildings first and then building the exteriors around them. Here is the building for the firework rockets. I made banners with each letter for the sign. It's going to be more of a greenish building when the copper oxidizes. Here is the inside. I wanted more of an industrial look, so there are darker colors and clay for the floor. I'm going for more of a foundry look in here. Next is the pumpkin and melon farm that is floating in the air. My goal is for it not to be. I'm putting it down on the ground compact. I'm just going to keep repeating that word, compact. So I did build the melon and pumpkin farm, but the interesting part of this is the redstone. So there is the rail that unloads the hopper minecart that will have the melon and pumpkin in it. Upward bubble column, so then there is an item sorter for the melon slice and pumpkins, and where the stripped log is, the crafters are going to be for crafting the melon slices into a melon. Of course, overflow if I screwed any of this up. After some building, here is the exterior. So there is mangrove wood with stripped mangrove logs, signs, trapdoors for detail, jungle wood for around the windows. There is torch flowers and planters and decorative pots around the sides. The front has a large sign in case I don't know which building it is. The interior of this one still needs some detailing, but it does have purple walls and the same floor as the old pumpkin and melon farm. It's probably not a good idea to finish the interiors until I'm 100% sure that the crafters and the redstone work. Here is the actual melon and pumpkin farm. It's a very enclosed farm, otherwise I'd like to show more of the inside. This was a bit of a weird area, so I put some bushes and different flowers in to kind of break up the space a bit. The other part of this is that I wanted to do something a bit different with the roofs, so I decided to make them flat roofs. All of them are made up of slabs or blocks that mobs can't spawn on. That one is stone and andesite. There's an acacia, planks, and granite one. I'm trying to be a bit different and find my own building style. I think flat roofs are worth a try. Hey, if it doesn't work, I can always change them. And that was a lot of building and reworking the farms. Those are pretty easy farms to rebuild. I feel like this was a massive upgrade over what I had before. Now I realize I built the bridge way too early in the episode and should have waited. All that means is that I have to move the bridge over about 10 blocks. So the crafters are out, and now it is time to actually put them in and see if my redstone works properly. So nothing is connected, so I have to connect everything. I also think there was some mistakes I made when I put this redstone together, because it looks like the rockets that will be crafted in here have no place to go, so I have to figure out some system for that. But let's fix the sugarcane so the sugarcane can come in, and then put the crafters in, and hopefully this will work. Otherwise I will be very, very disappointed. So I've connected everything up, and now I just have to let it run to see if it actually works. So put the shulker box with the gunpowder in, we hit the button, it will unload, and let's see if it works. So the gunpowder is going in, gunpowder is going in there, it's filling in, but it is not. Oh, there it is. There it went. Cool. So it actually works, but it's just very slow, which is good because you don't want this thing to go too quickly, because I want flight duration 3 for this. So it is working well. I just need to redirect this down into another container so that it will store the firework rockets better. So now on to the one that's a little more trickier, because it is going to craft the melon slices into the melons, but everything else is a little more complicated on this. So I need to put the minecart in and then fill up the water here, and hopefully the melon slices will be crafting properly, but I have to test this out to see if this works. So I don't think I did a great explanation earlier, so I just wanted to explain the crafters a bit. So the easiest way to think about them is they are like droppers. So they'll transfer items into other containers. So for example, this one is facing into that hopper. So when it crafts an item, it'll transfer it into there. I do have a video on a crafter, and I'll have it on the top right if you want to watch it and learn more about the crafter. But you can basically have the crafter face any direction and have it transfer items into there. And you can see right now, when it gets a redstone signal, it'll be activated and craft an item. So you can see it shows the available recipe, which is a firework rocket with flight duration 3. When it gets the signal, it'll craft that item. So the trick is to basically fill these things with the appropriate recipe. They don't fill like a hopper either. Hoppers usually just go left to right and fill the available stacks. With the crafter, they'll just fill the empty slots first. That's their first priority. So if you had a bunch of sugarcane in, rather than just all the sugarcane going into here, it'll fill the first slot, the second slot, and the third slot. So all of this is important because it's very easy for the crafters not to be able to craft items if you have the wrong items in here. So that is why you kind of want to have sometimes like this where the items are already in there, and then once they get the redstone signal, you don't have to worry about random items getting in here. I hope that was a good explanation of that, but you can do a lot of stuff with that, as you can see here, with the different comparators, the observers, and the hoppers over here. You can pretty much craft a lot of stuff that you want, and there are a lot of circuits out there that are available if you want to make anything you want with this. So I've connected everything up, and the minecart is coming in and putting everything in. You can see that there is pumpkins in here, and then this is a lot slower, but it is producing melons at a very slow rate. The other thing I should point out is that there is this part of it which locks it in. So when this chest becomes full, it will turn off the circuit, and then it will not power the crafter, so it'll stop working. But it should take a long time, as it'll have to fill all of these chests and all these hoppers. But now we have crafters in our farms for both the melon and also for the firework rockets. So I think that covers everything. So thank you guys for watching.